Knife skills, interestingly, is one of my favorite topics. For one, it's just a lot of fun to learn a new skill like this. Two, it helps you to be more efficient. By being more efficient, it makes cooking a whole lot more fun. Plus, it's pretty impressive when you got your friends sitting around the kitchen and you start whipping out your knife skills. The first thing to talk about is what kind of knife you need. I really only use about 80% of the time one type of knife, and that is the chef knife. While it's a slightly larger knife, it's something that you can use for just about everything. Now for those really small, hard to cut vegetables or fruits, those things that you're trying to trim, a paring knife actually comes in pretty handy. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is our grip. And what we don't want to do is have all of our fingers back here, just holding the back of the handle. We also don't want to have one finger up here on top like this either. Again, that doesn't give us as much control when we're cutting. You actually want to grip up on the blade. Okay, this is a little bit different than what you probably are used to. What we want to do is we want to have one finger up on the blade like this and our thumb pressing against the back. We want the rest of our fingers wrapped around the handle here. This gives us a lot of control, a lot of movement over the knife. Our other hand is going to make a claw. We're going to have our thumb tucked back behind these fingers, and this is going to be holding whatever it is that we're cutting. Our blade will go right up next to our knuckle. Okay, as long as you have your fingers tucked back behind those knuckles and your blade right against your knuckles of your finger, you cannot come down and cut your finger. That makes it completely safe. If you can do these two techniques, you can pretty much cut up just about everything. The first technique I want to talk about is the rock chop. Again, we get our grip set up here. What we're actually going to be doing is rocking that blade from tip to back, just like this. Blade against the knuckle, tip down, and we're going to be going down and away, rocking. When it comes to practicing your chopping skills, I found that there's really no better option to practice on than these green onions. I like to just chop these up into about 2-inch strips here, and then we're gonna hold the green onion. Make sure you're not letting that thumb slip out. Okay, keep that tucked back. We're gonna have our blade right against our knuckle. We're gonna have the tip down, and we're just gonna go down and away. Okay, you can see how that leaves us these nicely chopped slices of green onion. Okay, our next cutting technique is going to be the cross chop. This time we're going to start with the tip of our blade like this. We're gonna take our other hand and place it on the back of the blade. Just gonna push that blade down across whatever it is that we're chopping up. Kind of bring that back together again, come back across. That's why it's called the cross chop. Okay, and that works really well if you've got a big group of vegetables or herbs or something that's larger size and you're trying to cut it down and reduce it into smaller cuts. Now, the reason I think this is worth talking about is because these are foods that we'll use commonly through a lot of different types of recipes. And so if we get quick and efficient, it just makes the whole process a whole lot more fun. Let's first talk about how to prepare an onion. Okay, so if you look at the onion here, you're gonna see the root here. When we cut this, we wanna cut down the center this way. We end up with something that looks like this. You can see our root is still intact here. Okay, we really want to try not to cut down through that root because for one, there's a lot of tear gas in there that gets released when you do that. And two, this actually helps hold the onion together as we chop it. We want to avoid cutting the root. We want to cut the other side here. And we're left with something that looks like this. Come directly down the onion. We're left with that root still intact. I'm also not crying, which is a good sign. If we want to go ahead and dice the onion, then we can use our cross chop. Okay, next let's talk about how to prepare a bell pepper. So if we look at the bell pepper, you can see here you have these little grooves that run along your bell pepper. That's where the white part of that bell pepper is on the inside, which is a little bit more bitter. So we actually want to try to stay outside of those grooves and cut just on the outside and down and around the bell pepper here. Just outside of those grooves. We're gonna get these nice slices of red bell pepper without that white bitter part. And you can just throw this away. Okay, now let's go ahead and take these nice red bell pepper slices and let's slice these up into a little bit smaller pieces. We're gonna use that rock chop. And you can see how that gives us these nice diced pieces of red bell pepper. Okay, the last food we're gonna talk about here is garlic. Garlic goes good in just about everything. So it's nice to be able to break this down quickly, and it gives you a whole lot of flavor. All right, we're just gonna press down. It's okay if you make a mess. We'll use this one here. And then we'll take our knife, place it over the top of the garlic, and then carefully. And what that will do is it will release the skin around the garlic, and then you can just peel that like a paper shell, and you're left with something that looks like this. There's a little piece of the root right there. I go ahead and just chop that off most of the time and chop this off like that to come right through and dice up this garlic. All right, and there we are, diced garlic, and that's it. It really is that simple. The awesome thing about all of this is you can get really good with this with very little time, and you can do it now in your own kitchen. I hope that was helpful. Be careful, make sure you keep all of those fingers, and I look forward to seeing you next time.